right, so this is after my third follow-up appointment with the doctor. I guess it goes doctor, PA, then doctor. So this time it was the PA. So I guess this is my second follow-up, not my third. Either way, it was the 3-week follow-up, and there's not a lot to add, but a couple of things that I found out or I can share. One that was a little interesting was we did x-rays just to see how the bones were. So it was a front x-ray like this, shirts off, both shoulders and just facing the x-ray machine so you could get the distances between the clavicle and the coracoid or CC on this side and measured against this side. And they were both, pretty much the same, except what I noticed was the distance on both sides, even though they're the same, was different than the distance in the last couple x-rays. So every time, I've taken an x-ray, the distance has been different. And what they say is it could just change based on your posture, your positioning, and things like that. I guess what's meaningful about it, or what's a little bit interesting, is that I think they use that to grade you in your injury. So when I went and first went to their office, that PA was the one that x-rayed me in a couple different positions and then came back and said I was a grade 3 or grade 4 based on the x-rays. Then a year later, when the joint never stabilized and there was still the clicking and popping, I got another x-ray. I also had the MRI as well, but I got another x-ray, and the doctor compared the distance between the clavicle and the CC on this side to this side and was like, hey, that's a grade 5. And then I go back and I get this measurement again multiple times now, and the distance changes again. So I don't know what they need to do, but if they're using that distance to measure and grade us for our injuries, then maybe when we do it, I don't know if they should take multiple x-rays at the same time. I mean, I try to stand in the same position, but somehow that could be disturbing because the grade 3 is where you're in the gray area. And if they misgrade you as a grade 4 or grade 5, you might decide to go into surgery instead of give yourself the time to try to heal. Whereas a grade 3, it could go either way, and you really might have a good chance of healing without the surgery. So I don't know. That was just interesting. So take that for whatever it's worth. So anyway, I went in there. One thing I asked about was, I spent the last few weeks sleeping kind of paranoid about my sling. It's on right now. And, when I first got it, they were like, hey, don't take your arm out of the sling. You can do it a couple times a day. But while you sleep and most everything else, have the sling on. Don't move your shoulder. Really, really minimize any movement. So it kind of created this paranoia in me that as I was sleeping and kind of trying to figure out where to put the pillows to support my arm, was it in the right posture? Am I stressing my joint too much? And I didn't really relax all the time when I was trying to sleep because of that. So, I asked about that and how concerned should I be? And I guess to some relief, she indicated that they try to create some type of concern so that patients err on the side of caution and really try their best to not move the shoulder joint. But she said, look, as long as you're sleeping in that sling, it doesn't matter if I'm sleeping on the side. She's not really concerned about any of that. How I prop my arm up and my sling up. As long as it's in the sling, they're very confident that it's not going to disturb the joint or the healing. So the surgery is still going to, go on its right course. So that was good. So last night I did sleep. After I woke up around 5, and when I went back to sleep, I propped the pillows up and I slept on my left side for the first time in quite some time. And I slept comfortably because I wasn't worried. And so I don't know if they should have told me that at the beginning. Maybe it was right to tell me, and tell all patients to be careful, to err on the side of caution. Because maybe that was why the result of this follow-up was good. I don't really know. I just like eating healthy, really trying to eat exceptionally healthy the first few weeks, and not do anything or take anything that's going to further inflame my body. I don't know if that played a role or whatever. But anyway, she said everything looks really good. She took my arm out of the sling. She did a passive mobility test and raised my arm, and it went 90 degrees, a little higher with no problem. I didn't have any pain there. And the same with it going out to the side. So she wasn't worried about any type of frozen shoulder or stiff shoulder, which can happen in small numbers of cases, I guess. And I asked about getting in PT right away. They still are making me wait until the 6 weeks till I take this off and till I can get into PT. Although she did say at home I can take this off for longer periods of time now, and also I can do the passive, sort of put my hand on a table and have a cloth underneath it and kind of lean forward till I get to just past the 90 degree, maybe 110 degrees mark. So I can do that going forward a bunch of times, sliding it, and then also out to the side as well, sliding it this way, back and forth, sliding it. And so I will be doing that just to keep the flexibility and mobility up, and but I'm not going to go beyond that, and just also these simple, curls, no weights, obviously, but just moving and contracting the bicep a little bit will be good. So I will be doing those things, but again, I will minimize the movement in the shoulder, like they said, and I'll buy into the process. And I canceled all of my PT up until the 13th and beyond, when she has said that I can go ahead and fully go into PT. I guess they're afraid that a physical therapist will start getting me into areas of mobility sooner and at a quicker rate than what they're comfortable, and not allowing the healing process to take over the full 6 weeks. So this technique, they really want that healing process to have 6 weeks. I asked about, are they concerned about scar tissue forming in places that could cause long-term pain and things like that? And she said no. There's not really a whole lot of stuff that gets in the way where they cut here. And so there's not a lot of places for the scar tissue to really build where it'll cause those issues. So I said, okay, I'm going to buy into it, and I'm going to follow the procedures. I've been following them so far, and she said everything looks really good. So I guess I'm really happy about that, and we'll see where it goes. So that's where I'm at now. I guess my next follow-up, unless I have something to share with you, will be sometime around April 13th to the 15th, after my first follow-up and my first physical therapy session, because I'm going to keep that on the 13th and start that no matter what. If there's something to follow up in the meantime, I will, but otherwise I'll wait a few more weeks. And unfortunately, this guy is going to be hanging out with me, although this ball's in the wrong spot. It should be right here, but I do that at night because I don't like it getting in my way. I like to prop the pillows up. This I can hang on and squeeze it throughout the day, but at night I like to take this off and put it over here, and then that way I can prop my pillows up underneath my hand, and it makes it a little bit more comfortable depending on my position. So I will let you guys know if there's something to catch you up on in the meantime, but if not, good luck to you on your recovery, and if you're thinking about surgery, good luck if you have it. All right, talk to you guys soon.